Now I know this ambulance is 20 years old, but it's just a little bit scruffy around the edges. There's marks where it's caught the trees, there's blemishes in the paintwork, there's a little bit of bubbling coming through, but I don't want to go for a full respray. I want it to be honest with itself. So what I've done is I've asked my friend, who's a fantastic artist, if I can print off one of her paintings and stick it just on the bottom about 1.2 meters, and it's going to fade out, and that should just cover some of these scratches, blemishes, bits where it's all a bit flaky. The problem is it's 3.6 meters long by 1.2 meters tall, so it's going to be a bit tricky to fit, to say the least. Let's give it a clean. There's no undo button on this sticky vinyl, it just goes for it. But this pattern is a little bit forgiving, I'm pleased to say. The good news is, because it's a water scene, if there's any bubbles and stuff, it just adds to it. It's 4D, isn't it? I'm not very good at multitasking, so while I'm concentrating on this, I'm fully aware I'm giving you no information whatsoever. Right, sounded like I had something to say then, didn't it? Now I think here, what I really need to do is something I'm not particularly good at, and that's be patient. I can play around with this all day, but actually it needs to go off overnight, let the adhesive dry, and then in the morning that will stick on there wonderfully. What a difference that has made. Just one sticker, 40 quid, couple of hours of quite stressful work, it must be said, but that transformation is well worth it. Time to let it go off and come back tomorrow. Ooh. Now it's most unlike me, but I've splashed out and spent some serious money. Because I want this to look really off-roady, like it can go anywhere, I've bought myself some LED Land Rover Defender rear lights. 6 of them, 150 quid. And I'm mounting them on this piece of stainless because up there, where the blue lights used to live, it's an absolute mess. It looks rubbish, they've patched it. When they decommissioned it, they just bodged it. So, this one is reverse, stop tail, indicator, over that side, the same but a fog light. And then the whole thing will sit on top at the back, and this little bit here will even hold the roof rack in place, and it will really tidy it up. Look at it, look at the little cages. They suggest I can go anywhere. They did come with silver-headed screws, which I didn't like. So I've made them colour-coded using matte black drywall screws, which isn't what you should do, but they work and they look much better. Slight modification on the modification. Little plastic cage, just in case a feather flies towards it. These fit. It's quite heavy. Oh, hello. It's on and it looks brilliant. So this, once it's fixed to the ambulance, will hold up the roof rack, covers up all that ugliness and gives me the coolest lights known to man. They look quite rugged and off-roady, but also I think a little bit ambulance-y. Oh yes. When they decommission an ambulance, they have to take all the blue lights off. And all they do is crudely stick that on the top. It's not much good, is it? So I'm going to peel this all off, get it nice and flush, and then I've designed some brackets I'm going to bolt on here to cover this patch, but also support the roof rack. It's got to look better than that. So well stuck. Before this project, I didn't like glue. Now I still don't like glue, but for other reasons. It's brilliant. But I can't get it off. Oh yes. Now that fits perfectly. What I've done is I've put the same 2 holes here and here, because on that end it's got these bolts there, and then on the other side I'm going to do exactly the same. That looks the business, covers the holes, and means I can mount the roof rack up there like that. It's worked. I'm pleased with that. I officially love this slotted aluminium. It's official. Once I've got them all on and fitted loosely, I'll loosen them off, put some stick in there to make sure it's completely watertight, put them back on, add those 2 bolts, and that is going to be solid for the solar panel. Tell you what, this solar panel looks huge when I took it out of the box. It looks tiny up here. Oh, there we go. She's in. And this basically is going to power everything in the camper van, from the heating to the hot water to the kettle to Alexa. Everything is going to be powered by this. I need a tape measure, but I haven't got a tape measure. So I'm going to use the spanner measure. That's how long it is. Oh yes. Now I've heard some absolute horror stories where people just bond their solar panels to the roof. Now I never fancy doing that because A, I don't think it's very safe. I'd much rather we bolt it down, but also I believe they need that cold air going under them in order to make them really efficient. This is 320 watts and I want it to be as efficient as possible. I don't want to be running the engine to charge the battery. I want it all coming from nature. This is a very tricky process, which is actually a good thing because it means nobody is going to steal my solar panel. That is officially the longest time and the most painful 2 bolts of my entire life. But let's be honest, this is going to do 60 miles an hour and the wind is going to get right under there, so a couple of good nylocks on that was essential. However, I've now got the other side to do and I'm already shattered. But it's free power, it's worth it in the long run. I know what I'm doing now. It's going to be easier. Ooh. So last bolt, and I've just realised, I can actually get my arm under the panel. The danger is, as I tighten it, I might not be able to get my arm out again. That has taken over an hour for 4 nylock nuts. But I now have power. It's the future. And painful. Now this is going to take quite a lot of imagination, but picture the sun setting over the sea, the sand, the mountains, laying on the top of the ambulance with a lovely drink in hand. I think I really need to make the most of this roof space. I've already got this wonderful roof rack that's structurally sound. All I need to do is add a load of timber decking. It's relatively lightweight as well, and actually quite a simple job that's going to double the footprint. I'm going to wrap around the solar panel, that will protect it a little bit as well, all the way here, flowing around the skylight, deck chair, bean bags, drink. It's perfect. It's well worth doing. And I mean, look at that gorgeous view. Why wouldn't you? Now, as you can tell, I've fallen in love with this aluminium profile. It's perfect for the inside, but also when it comes to mounting things on the roof, like the solar and now the timber, I've got this brilliant channel to put the nuts and bolts into. So I'm going to mount this piece of wood here using bolts into the channel for security, because this will be traveling on 60 miles an hour. And then I can fix my decking down into the timber in the traditional way. It's precision engineering mixed with timber, which isn't usually the done thing. The problem is, when it doesn't line up perfectly, it's not very forgiving. Oh, we're in. Oh, we're in times two, come on. No, it could be a long day. Maybe this is the reason people don't mix engineering precision with wooden decking. So the good news about this is the decking being heavier is going to push down on my skylight even more. So it'll either be really super waterproof or crack. This is a moving vehicle, it's not a static piece of decking, so I'm going slightly over the top. I keep saying it's going to travel at 60 miles an hour. It probably won't, it's probably more like 50. Gradually believing in myself slightly less as the series goes on. Oh my goodness. That was actually quite tiring and a lot more work than I imagined, as per a lot of things on this camper van, but what a space. Just even sat here now with an awful view of a workshop, it still feels brilliant. And you'll notice I've also added one more piece of aluminium in this gap here, because I've got the intention of swinging in a hammock by the side of the van. Now this is on runners, which means if I take my weight off it, hopefully, that will slide out and I can hang a hammock from that rail. That's going to be brilliant. I've got to figure out how to do that yet, but the rail is on. And I always wanted the ambulance to look more off-roady and capable of going anywhere. So what I've done is I've purchased these. They're called Waffle boards, and basically they go under the tyres if you get stuck in the mud. But I didn't know where to put them. So I thought, why don't I mount them to the roof rack? So I fitted these two bolts, and they're going to slot on there and there with some washers, put some nuts on there, and also I think they're going to look pretty cool as well, because this side needed a bit more roughy-tufty styling on it. I'm going to bolt them on. Now it will be a bit of a faff to come up here to get my waffle boards, but if you mount them down low, then somebody might run off with them anyway, so built-in security. That's not coming off. Well, it will when I need it, hopefully. Lovely job. Now I just need to be able to get up and down to get the waffle boards off and to enjoy the decking. So it's ladder time. It's going to hopefully fit in my roof rack fixings without too much fuss. There we go. Right, I need this. This is what I need. Perfect. I've just got to put 2 screws in the bottom, and then I think the roof is complete. Thank goodness. But what a transformation. All the weight is on those bolts at the top. Let's give it a go. Hey! I've left a spanner up here.